We all hear the statistics. Sexual assault and violence is rampant across college campuses throughout the nation. But what does that mean? What does it look like? Who experiences it? Sexual violence is any sexual act, attempt to obtain a sexual act, unwanted sexual comments, or advances against a person's sexuality using coercion by any person, regardless of their relationship to the victim, in any setting. 1 in 5 women and 1 in 16 men will be sexually assaulted while in college. Over half will be white, but other ethnicities are at a proportionally higher risk. Native Americans have the highest burden of risk for minority groups. Around 34% reported assault in 2015. Students identifying in the LGBT+ spectrum are at a heightened risk, compared to the average of 35% of heterosexual women, 44% of lesbian, and 61% of bisexual women experience rape, abuse, and stalking, compared to the 26% of heterosexual men, 29% of gay men, and 37% of bisexual men experience sexual assault and violence. 1 in 2 TGQN, that's transgender, genderqueer, non-binary gender, and gender questioning students, experience assault, and this group of students have the highest rate of repeat assault, as 66% of assaulted students are targeted again. The number 1 perpetrator of sexual assault? Intimate partners. More than 50% of college sexual assaults occur in either August, September, October, or November. Students are at an increased risk during the first few months of their first and second semesters in college. During this time, students are more likely to change their behaviors and be less responsible as they struggle to make friends. Freshmen are at particularly high risk, as they do not yet have established friend groups to tend to them while incapacitated. In their freshman year of college, 15% of women are raped while incapacitated from alcohol or drugs. Over half of assaults occur while at home or at a place of residence. Rates do not differ between large and small campuses, but do vary by region. Northern campuses see an instance of 5.2%, 4.7% in the South, just around 6% in the West, and the highest rate is Midwest campuses is 8.3%. These numbers are astronomical, shameful, and unfortunately not limited to the United States. According to the BBC, 1 in 4 collegiate women will experience sexual assault on campus in the UK, the same as the United States. 1 in 3 students are sexually harassed in China, and 17% of collegiate women experience assault in Kenya. However high these numbers are, they may be much lower than the truth. Rape is the most underreported crime. Over half are not reported to the police, and even more reports are left unattended after being filed. There's a popular myth that rape reports are falsified, and that's what leads to the reports gathering dust on the shelves. However, according to the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, the prevalence of false reporting hovers between 2.1% and 5% nationwide. Only 9% of all rapists are prosecuted, and of those charges, only 5% resulted in a felony conviction, and only 3% of those charges spent time in jail. With such low rates of conviction, it is not hard to see why victims believe the police will not do anything to help them, which is a leading cause of underreporting. Fear of reprisal and the belief that the event was a personal reflection of character that did not require legal intervention were 2 of the largest reasons cited for not reporting the crime. Other reasons not to report are not wanting to get the perpetrator in trouble, fear that underage drinking will elicit a citation and cause the rape to be discounted, belief of a lack of proof or evidence for the crime, and no social support to file a case. Consequences for rape and assault are vast and long-lasting. 4 out of 5 rape survivors subsequently suffer from chronic physical and psychological conditions. Survivors are 13 times more likely to attempt suicide than those who have not been assaulted. They are also 13 times as likely to develop an alcohol problem and are 26 times more likely to develop a drug problem afterwards. 40% developed a sexually transmitted disease from the attack. Though the best advice we could give is to not rape in order to stop the growing epidemic on college campuses, it does not seem to be sufficient. Get consent before engaging in a sexual act. Clothing choice or drunkenness is not permission. But for something more concrete, self-defense classes drop rape prevalence by 38% in high-crime areas. Furthermore, a cultural low tolerance of sexual violence, by a partner or otherwise, against women is significantly associated with a positive attitude towards reporting. Be supportive, listen, and encourage those you know to be an advocate, not a bystander.
Create executed using Powtoon.